We'll get into our NBA mailbag in just a second, but first we wanted to tell you guys that we have more team-based channels here at Chat Sports. We have a Lakers channel that has over 35,000 subscribers. Producer Jeremy is cycling through the links that you can go subscribe to those there on the bottom of your screen, youtube.com/LakersTV. Golden State Warriors Today is growing like crazy as well, almost at 16,000. We have a Mavericks channel, which, hey, we haven't done a lot of Mavs videos recently, but if you subscribe, we'll start cranking that back up again. And then Celtics Today as well recently crossed 5,000 subscribers. Go check those out. The links will be in the description, and you guys can go subscribe to our NBA team-based channel. Chase, I know you've had a lot of fun doing a lot of our NBA coverage on our other channels as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, I started here March 1st at Chat Sports, and one of my main duties has been pumping out NBA content like crazy. We've been able to grow the Lakers report. We've grown Warriors Today. We've done the same with Celtics Today as well. And playoffs are right around the corner. You know we're going to be covering the Dallas Mavericks as well. So subscribe to those channels because it's the best team-specific coverage on YouTube.
Let's start with Ray Long as we get into our mailbag. Talk about the disrespect the national media is showing Jokic. He's been the MVP for months, and they still can't admit it. I will say this. I saw Nick Wright of First Things First the other day, who at times has some good takes. I thought his take of saying Jokic would be the worst MVP in the last 35 years was absolutely disrespectful. This is one of the most unique players we have ever seen in the NBA, a 7-footer that passes like a point guard, shoots like a shooting guard, rebounds like a big, and he handles like Steph Curry. Like, the guy is pretty phenomenal.
Jokic is unbelievable, and he's been a unicorn the past couple of seasons. And Ray Long, I'll tell you this, I came from traditional media, hopped on board here at Chat Sports, couldn't be happier with the decision. So I think, hey, don't listen to the national media. That's why you tune into Chat Sports here, right? Jokic, if you listen to Harrison and I, we're all about Jokic being the MVP,
it's been awesome.
Especially considering the fact that without Jamal Murray, there has been no step back at all. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games.
To me, he sealed it with how they've played without
No question.
Murray. He's been unreal. Chris Paul, some other guys deserve love, but to me, it's Jokic.
Agree.
Addy B, next up, how far do you see the Sixers going in the NBA playoffs? Well, you've spent a lot of years in the Philadelphia area, Chase, and you've watched this team for years. To me, they're a second round or a conference finals team.
Yeah, I was looking at the betting odds. If you want to bet on the Sixers to make it to the NBA finals, you can make a lot of money. And I especially think that it's a realistic scenario if the Sixers do make a run to the NBA finals. Personally, I think they might max out making it to the conference finals. If they make it to the NBA finals, not going to be totally surprised. So what you got to look out for. I think they're going to win their first round series.
Yeah.
In the second round, if they get the Knicks or the Hawks, I think they're a shoo-in to make it to the conference finals. So it kind of depends on how the seeding works out. They have an easy remaining schedule. I think they're going to lock up the number 1 seed, though.
You don't want Boston in round 2 if you're a Sixers fan.
A lot of demons there.
Kenneth Smith has a question. This doesn't feel like the Lakers' year with all of the injuries. Can LA still win a title this season? Obviously, Chase, there's been a lot of injuries, especially to their main 2 stars, and even to some other guys like Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, I'm still going to say that anytime you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you have an opportunity to win an NBA championship. Now, LeBron has to get reacclimated, and he has to get healthy because he left Sunday's game with an ankle injury. Yep. That is definitely a concern for me, especially considering he's 36 years old. Anthony Davis, on the other hand, he's been able to ramp up a little bit. I know he got injured last night against the Clippers, expects to play on Friday night. What I see is that he is playing well, is looking healthier, and his game is starting to improve a little bit more every single day. So I think the Lakers are going to be fine.
So who will win the NBA title this year? Go ahead and get your votes in on this one. I think it's as open as it's been in quite a while. Let us know what you guys think. Who will win the NBA title in 2021? Trucks is next up here. What do you think about the Warriors signing Jordan Bell and promoting JTA on a multi-year contract? Well, if you're watching live, stay tuned. We're going to break that down in more detail. But quick thoughts. I'll be honest, Jordan Bell doesn't do anything for me at this point in his career. That's just me speaking the truth from my opinion there. JTA, though, he deserves it. He deserves to be elevated off that 2-way contract, Chase. He's had some really solid games this year.
Yeah, JTA has earned himself some money this season, and he's impressed Steph Curry, who really likes him. He's impressed Steve Kerr as well, and he's impressed a lot of people, especially Bob Myers, who's going to be the one who's signing over the check to give to Juan Toscano Anderson. A bright story in what has been a somewhat frustrating season for the Dubs. I think looking ahead could be a rotational piece once the Warriors get back to form and Klay Thompson comes back.
Let's go to Marquis Robertson. Chase and Harrison, who do you guys have in the NBA Finals this year? This is such a good question. I mean, years past, it's been like before LeBron left Cleveland, it was like, okay, Warriors, Cavs. But now, I'm just going to, how about, you ready for this?
Yes, let's go.
I'm just going to throw a dart here. I'm going to go Suns, Nets.
Okay.
I'm going to go Suns, Nets. I feel like the Nets could do anything from losing the second round to win the whole thing. I just don't know what to expect there because the big three haven't played together a lot. I just think it's time for Chris Paul. This is the opportunity. The Lakers have injury issues. I think that team's better than the Clippers anyway. Utah, we'll see. I think Phoenix is better built come playoff time. And then I'm just going to go with the talent in Brooklyn.
So, first of all, shout out Marquise because I think he watches every single video that Chat Sports puts out there. I always see him in the comments. Appreciate you, Marquise. I'm going to go Phoenix. I'm also going to go Philly.
Okay.
I just don't believe that Brooklyn, with that core not having played more than 7 games together, is going to survive through the playoffs. I think there's too much that you have to figure out.
Jared Stilwell next up here. What are your opinions on the Celtics and how far do you think they go in the playoffs? They're like a lesser Brooklyn from what I just said in the standpoint from, honestly, they could lose first round, they could make the conference finals, maybe even the NBA finals if they get the right matchup. That would surprise me based on the inconsistency, but if they can get fully healthy come playoff time, if Kemba's good to go, he's played a little better as of late. I mean, you can't count them out in these 7-game series. You got one of the best coaches in Brad Stevens. I'll say probably a second-round type of team, but don't be shocked if they go further.
Yeah, Jared, I've been on the seesaw, just going back and forth with this. I think the Celtics are just a little bit too inconsistent. And I think what we've seen in those inconsistencies, that's just who the Celtics are.
It's rare for teams who are like this in the regular season to just put it
flip
all together come
switch.
playoff time.
Yeah.
I think this year is a little different in that aspect where it could happen, but I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. I'll just say that. Dman Dooney. Trade Wiggins for draft picks and trade or sign Kawhi. Is it possible, or would they have to trade Draymond Green too? Hope the Clippers drop out of the playoffs early. By the way, if you want Kawhi offseason drama, you want the Clippers out in round 1.
No
so
doubt.
Cheer against the Clippers if you want your team to sign Kawhi. By the way, shout out Wiggins, who's been balling out since Stephen A. Smith called him out a couple of weeks ago. I think I saw his last X amount of games. He's averaging like 24 points, so that's cool. They're not. I'll tell you this: if Kawhi opts in, they're not trading him, right? If he wants to get out, he'll just opt out of his contract. And so your best shot at Kawhi again, cheer against the Clippers come playoff time. I don't think the Clippers will trade him if he opts in or signs a new deal.
Yeah, I don't like all of the shade thrown toward Andrew Wiggins. My comp for him, Harrison Barnes. He's been pretty good. He also, Harrison Graham. Nice. Exactly. But no, I think, you can kind of compare Andrew Wiggins to Harrison Barnes a little bit. Very similar players. The problem is Andrew Wiggins' contract. That is what is problematic. So if the Warriors were to try to bring in Kawhi, they'd have to trade away that contract to make it financially possible.
If you want to subscribe to our Warriors channel or any of our team channels, this is your chance to do it. The Lakers Report is at youtube.com/LakersTV, the fastest growing Lakers channel on YouTube. Golden State Warriors Today is youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Mavericks Today is at youtube.com/MavsTV. And then our up-and-coming Boston Celtics Today channel, youtube.com/CelticsTV. Our coverage will ramp up on our team channels now that the playoffs are around the corner, and especially come the offseason with free agency and the draft. Get in on the action right now. Plus, as these team channels grow, we may launch more team channels in the future for different teams. So go ahead and subscribe and check those channels out. Chase Graff, #NBA. Can the Nets make a run without KD or Harden? And how far can they take the Warriors to the conference final? Oh, how far can Steph take the Warriors? Honestly, I don't see them winning a series. If Steph gets them out of the play-in tournament and won a series, it's historic work in my opinion. you take him off that team, they're bad. So that's what I would say on that. What are your thoughts on can the Nets make a run if KD or Harden miss significant time?
So we just brought in Perry, great addition to the Chat Sports
Big
squad.
NBA guy.
He thinks that Kyrie Irving is a top 10 player. So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the question
As long as
if you think
Kyrie-
the Nets can make a run without KD or Harden. Okay. Thumbs up. So Perry says yes. I'm going to go no because I just don't think Kyrie is reliable. So I'm going to say no there. As for Steph and the Warriors to the conference finals, no chance. They just don't have enough firepower.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Matt the Gamer, who is the best NBA team out there? This year it's like...
Honestly, from start to finish, let's go on the basis of that, right? Suns,
Utah and
Jazz,
Phoenix.
and the Sixers.
Yeah, it's those three,
Those have been the three best.
If you're taking projections and playoffs and all that stuff out of it, those have been the three most consistent teams.
Yeah,
so.
Look at it like a horse race. They've been multiple lengths ahead the entire season.
Yep. Troy Daniels, #NBA. If Mitchell and Conley are healthy for the playoffs, do you think the Jazz, do you see them going to the finals? They absolutely can and have a good shot because they keep winning despite Mitchell's injury, and I know Conley's missed a few games. So, yeah, I'll say this. If Mitchell isn't at least 90% for the playoffs, I don't see them making the finals. Conference finals, still very much a possibility.
Yeah, in the last 5-6 games before Donovan Mitchell got hurt, he was going off. He was averaging 35, 36 per night.
Game. Yeah.
He was unconscious. And in the playoffs the past 2 years, Donovan Mitchell's been really good. All depends on that health. And as we've seen, those ankle injuries, they can linger. They can be problematic. Troy, if Mitchell and Conley are healthy, I do think they can make a run at the NBA Finals for sure.
So use #NBA or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. Appreciate that question from Troy. Going up next here, looks like Danny Giuseppe has a question here. What should the Celtics do to shake up this roster this offseason? So a lot of debate about, okay, if they lose early, they've been inconsistent all year. My take, trade Kemba Walker. Try and move him and then bring in someone else in here.
Trade Kemba Walker if there's another team that wants to be a suitor. I'm not sure another team would want Kemba because of the knee injuries. So try to trade Kemba Walker. Also, can we bring in a modern-day 5 who can stretch the floor a little bit? Even if it's a guy like Miles Turner. He at least has somewhat of a corner 3 if the Indiana Pacers decide to rebuild.
Danny Ainge screwed the pooch when he didn't do the Gordon Hayward sign and trade to Indiana for Miles Turner. They were like, hey, we'll give you Turner. And he was like, no. And then they lost him for nothing.
And I like Robert Williams. Good backup, though.
He's a good energy
backup. They need
backup.
a legit 5.
Yeah. Should the Celtics trade or try to trade Kemba Walker this offseason? Why for yes and for no? For me, let's see how the playoffs play out, but I think I'm leaning yes. I would try to move that contract. A couple more questions here on this mailbag. Baylee X, who or what will be the X factor for either the Lakers or the Clippers? I mean, really, for the Lakers, it's not an X factor to me. It's health.
It's LeBron's health.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
For the Clippers, maybe Rondo?
Rondo. That's where I'm going.
I think those are a couple
He's been excellent.
Bailey's got another one here. What Eastern Conference team has the deepest roster to make a good run? When you're thinking depth here, where are you going?
I'd probably go Bucks. I might go Sixers as well.
Okay.
I mean, shoot, if the Nets are healthy, it's a pretty deep team, even though they kind of depleted some of that depth. But those 3 teams, that's what I'm looking at.
I'll throw Miami in there as well.
Yeah,
Do you
Miami
think
for
Curry is the best player in the NBA? This one from HG Pay. Hard to say best.
Number 3.
He's top 3.
He's number 3 for me. He's behind LeBron, and he's behind KD.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is right there.
When Durant's
number 3
healthy, he's still unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with him is the injuries are starting to pile up. So top 3 for sure. On any given night, yeah, he can be the best.